I'm here with my guy Turkish. Well, Turkish, 4-3. I've got to admit, I never saw this coming. I knew we would win. Well, I thought we would win, but I thought it'd be a bit more comfortable, to say the least, than it was tonight. What's your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I think it should have been a lot more comfortable, and we'll get into why it wasn't comfortable, because our performance was pretty comfortable. I don't think we conceded many chances, but we conceded 3 goals to a team that you would never expect. I mean, that's the first time they scored 3 goals in the Premier League in a single game. So we should have done a hell of a lot better. But at the end of the day, we got the 3 points, and people will question whether this is sustainable or not. Listen, I'm not thinking too far ahead. All I'm thinking about is now, and the most important thing was to put a little bit of pressure on Liverpool and City. Now we're 5 points away from Liverpool, 6 away from City. That's what I'm looking at. I'm going to enjoy the next couple of days of football, and then we come back to game week 16. So, yeah, all in all, should have done better, but we got the 3 points.
I must say, I'm a little surprised you're a bit more upbeat than I thought you were. But you know what? I'll take that. That's good. But I've got to ask you, man, it's going to be one of the talking points of the game tonight. We've conceded 3 goals. 2 of those goals, you could lay squarely at the foot or the hands of Raya. What's going to happen now? What should happen? What do you think should happen with the goalkeeping situation now?
Raya should be dropped in the next game, in my opinion. It's not his first mistakes for the club. I mean, he's got a fair few under his belt in the first, 14 game weeks, which he's been first team for 12 of those, 11 of those, I want to say. So he's got a mini catalogue. It's not an Onana catalogue, but it's a mini catalogue. And I just think if it's to be believed that, Raya was brought in for competition, and, what Arteta said about having goalkeepers for different scenarios, situations, then you'd expect him to be given another chance, a lifeline. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Raya is our number 1, and there was never a question about him coming in to compete. I think he was always coming in to be number 1. So I think he should be dropped, but he won't be dropped. Because it was embarrassing. I mean, it's so frustrating because, listen, I know Ramsdale's made errors over the years, but Ramsdale's also been part of a resurgence from Arsenal, whereas Raya hasn't been part of that. So we're judging Raya without no emotional connection, and we're looking at Ramsdale's situation with an emotional connection, because it is. But I'm one to say, put emotion to the side at the top level of football, because until players win something for you, they're in my opinion, they're not worthy of being, revered, let's say. I don't know if that's the right word. But he should be dropped, Laurie. You can't be making mistakes like that. I mean, the second one was comparable to an Onana one recently. I mean, the ball, if he stayed up straight, he could have literally kicked the ball away. He's gone down out of the way of the ball's gone underneath him, let alone the one before that, which was probably just as bad. Jumping, aimlessly, the players got in front of you, and we've conceded. So 2 big mistakes. And I think it'll be good for Ramsdale to be given a lifeline, and it'll be good for Raya to be kept on his toes, regardless of if the long-term decision is to keep Raya. That is fine, because I think it is fine margins between the 2. But it'll also help us keep Ramsdale's value up, in my opinion, because right now it's probably the lowest it's been since we signed him.
Okay, honest and forthright as always. Appreciate that. Okay, let's move to some positives now. I think the main positive of tonight is that, we've come back from a sticky situation and we've got a win. I mean, Liverpool could only draw at Luton. Luton are a better team than their place in the table suggests. I knew this would be a difficult game. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as difficult, but give us some positives. Who, for Arsenal today, impressed you?
Probably Jesus, first and foremost. I think, again, big moments in the game. He's got that assist for Kai that brings us back into it. Great hold-up player. I mean, he's not a big guy, Jesus, but the way he manoeuvres his body in those situations with his back to goal. I mean, he was coming up against someone nearly double his size, and he held him off, backed him down, got the header into Havertz, massive, and he scored as well. Yeah. Big up Havertz, because I think Havertz created the space for him, and funnily enough, this is something he gets a hell of a lot of credit for. He creates space. Today I saw it in the box. He ran towards the near post, took 2 defenders with him. Jesus comes back post and heads it in. So Jesus, for me, deserves credit. I've mentioned another one, Havertz. I think he deserves credit over the 90, probably his best performance. Not just because of the goal, because he's scored a few now in the last few games, but his application on the ball too. We saw a few times that, in the transition, he took the ball with his feet through the lines, and that's what I want to see more of from him. So more good timing into the box and more possession in transition from Havertz. Aside from that, I mean, Declan Rice, I think he's Premier League player of the season so far, not just Arsenal. I think so far he's up there. It's only 15 games, so it's still very early. We're not at the halfway stage, but Declan Rice he's a monster. He's a monster, and not only is he a monster in what he does in midfield, but twice this season he scored essentially last-minute winners for us, and one against United and one tonight. Massive goals that at the end of the season we might look back on and say, those were games that went a long way in helping us.
Well, right there, that's 4 points, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 games that could have been draws, he's turned them into wins.
Yep, 100%. And none of us really thought we were getting Declan Rice in for that. We thought we're getting him in to be a midfield monster, which we've got, but we've also got the added bonus of a couple goals in there too.
Got to ask you, some people will be looking at that performance today and they'll be saying, look, you kind of scraped home against Wolves. I mean, you can argue that, but some people have said that. Tonight, you've gone life and death with Luton. There'll be some people out there, including some Arsenal fans, are saying, is that really the form of champions? What would you say to those people?
I mean, you can make an argument that it is, but you can also make an argument that it isn't. Those things are one of those throwaway, there's not much base behind it. I mean, that's the sign of champions. Also, a sign of champions is going to Luton and smashing them 6-0. Yeah. So there's different signs to being champions. But this is one, remaining in the game, remaining resilient, winning games in the last 10, 15 minutes. That's something that Arsenal have done very well over the last 18 months. So it's a factor. But it's not the be-all and end-all, because I look at us overall this season and I say there's been far too many games where it's been tight. And I think that's not a sign of champions, and that's why I expect to improve on. But we have improved in recent weeks on that too. Aside from tonight, the last few games have had quite a few exciting moments, passages of play, fluidity, exciting football. So we have upped that recently. But tonight, listen, the only reason it was a tight game was because of Raya. That's the only reason it was other than that, this would have been a 3-4-1, maybe more. The only reason it was a 4-3, the only reason the Declan Rice goal means so much as it does is because of Raya. Yeah. He effed up a couple moments, and then that allowed Luton into the game. Other than that, we done our job tonight at a ground that has been difficult to go to for many clubs this season.
Yep, agreed. Okay then, looking ahead to the weekend, which a lot of people will say is an arguably more difficult assignment. Would you like to see any changes? Well, you spoke about the goalkeeper. You would like to see that happen, but I think deep down we all know that that's unlikely. Yeah. Although not impossible, unlikely. Any other changes moving further through the pitch?
I think either Zinchenko comes in at left back or Tommy comes in, one or the other. I don't think Kiwior was great. I don't think Ben White was great, if I'm honest. So maybe it is a Tomiyasu Kiwior fullback set against Aston Villa. Kiwior was good, but I did miss Zinchenko's overload into the midfield. Ben White, first game back in a little while, he looked a bit rusty. There was moments where he looked a bit unaware, confused. That's something that I haven't seen much from Ben White over the last 18 months. I'll put that down to being out of the team for a few games. But yeah, maybe a change at that left back, Zinchenko to come back in, maybe Tommy if he's fit. Havertz for me keeps his spot, and aside from that, yeah, it's all the same. Ramsdale comes in, Zinni comes in, and that's it.
Okay then, thank you very much. It's remiss of me not to ask you a result for Villa. How do you think that game will play out? Can we get a win there? I mean, it's a very difficult place to go. Villa in good form. How do you see that game playing out?
It's another game that I don't expect a low block in. So it's another game that I expect us to flex. That's how I see it. It's going to be a difficult one. It was difficult last season too. But I think we play a lot better against teams that open up. Now, people might say, look at what happened tonight. Yeah, tonight, for me, is an exception. But Aston Villa should give it a go. I mean, not should come, we go there. They should give it a go. They've got quality players. They are a threat. We didn't start the game well against them last season, so I'm looking to start the game well this season because we can't always fight back and score last-minute winners. We did that with Jorginho, Martinez on goal. So it'll be a difficult game, but I think it's one that we can get 3 points from.